Hey, good afternoon, and welcome to Wonderful Wall Street Wednesday, Wonderful Wednesday for Women. It's just an exciting day. This is Live with Sujay. You know me from Wonderful Wall Street Wednesday and Lunch Hour of Power, but this is a Lunch Hour of Power. This is a wonderful day because we are celebrating women all over the world, but in the United States, this is the day and the night for women
Yeah.
as we celebrate and salute Senator Kamala Harris as she receives the nomination as Vice President of the United States of America. I mean, that's the
Yes.
second highest office in
Yes.
America
In
and in
America.
the highest country. So we salute
Yes.
you today, Kamala. Your sisters are praying for you, cheering you on, and
Yes.
we celebrate what God is doing all over the land. And so we welcome you to Live with Sujay. It has been a pleasure to be with you on Wednesdays. And this week, we're going to have a 7-week series. Today starts a 7-week series of conversations with sister CEOs, and how excited and delighted I am. So we're going to be on YouTube. And so what we'd like you to do is subscribe if you have not yet done so. And as you look at the show, if you will like us and you will also share us, because we want to get the buzz out, the word out that conversations with sister CEOs is taking place. And this is National Black Business Month. So, I mean, it
Yes.
getting any better. A woman being nominated as vice president, National Black Business Month on YouTube, and I'm here with my sisters. So let me introduce them to you. And if you'll just raise your hand as I come to you, we first have the inimitable Linda Pringle Evans, founder and board member of the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, but she is also her own business owner. She owns Pringle Business Consulting. She's also a global co-chair for EBW, which stands for Empowering a Billion Women, and a motivational speaker. Then we have Yolanda Colwell, Titus Events LLC. She also is a podcaster. She has a weekly podcast called The Heightening, and she'll be coming to you. And she also is a founding board member of the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. And then we have Miss Vanita. Oh, Miss Vanita. She is the transformative inner peace coach of the Tyler Marcel Experience. Hello, somebody. And these shows are coming to you from Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce in partnership with Charisma Speakers, which is my company. Charisma Speakers is a global professional speakers bureau, the only one owned by a Black woman all over the globe. And we do these things. We provide keynote speeches, both in person and now virtually, coaching, consulting, and courageous, caring, confident conversations like
All
this one.
right.
Hello, somebody.
Hello.
And the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce, founded 2020, a month before COVID-19 happened.
No.
We came into being, but we were birthed in the midst of chaos. And
Yes.
wonderful things happen when you're birthed in the midst of chaos.
Yes.
All births take place and have some pain. So the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce is the only chamber of commerce that solely focuses on Black women-owned businesses worldwide. So sisters, get ready. You can be a solopreneur. You can be a faithpreneur. You can be a conglomerate. You can be a gig worker. You can be anything. If you own 51% or more of your business, you are in the right place and in the right space. What
Right.
do? We create businesses, we connect businesses, we collaborate with Black women owned businesses. We help you sustain, scale, and grow. It's a network. So you may ask, why should I join that? I'm already part of the Black Business Women's this or that. What we hope is that you might come under one umbrella, that we might put all of those businesses together, because chambers of commerce is like a union. We can
Yes.
collaborate. We can go up to the Capitol Hill. We can do many things together. So I say 1 and 1 equals 2, except when it's side by side, then it equals 11. So come on and join the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce and be with us. But today is the beginning of our conversations. Welcome,
Yes.
sisters. So
Yes.
I'm going to start with you, Linda. Why did you form Pringle Business Consulting? Why start a business?
I started my business, and I'm just going to be very transparent.
Yes.
I started my business because of corporate America. When I worked in corporate, I was blessed. No, I can't say that I wasn't. But my last job that I had in corporate, it was the wake up for me when I was pulled aside, and I had received some very nice awards and positions within this corporation. And I was pulled aside once and said, Linda, your work is impeccable, but you are too stern. And I said, too stern? Please explain to me what you mean by that. And I couldn't believe what I heard. It was, there are people who are afraid of you. And I thought, why are they afraid of me? And they really couldn't give me a definitive answer, but we had to part ways.
I understand. So from pain, your passion came through.
It most certainly did. And I learned from that at the time of where I was in my own personal life, my age. And it was, okay, I'm not going back into corporate. I'm going to do what I feel God has called me to do. And I always
closed the chapter so a new one could open.
Absolutely.
And you went from having the paycheck given to you to writing the paycheck.
To writing the paycheck. Absolutely. Yes. I learned a lot from corporate. So I thank them for that.
All right. Yolanda, why did you start your company, Titus Events, LLC?
Thank you for that question. I started my business because it was an extension of who I was. I've always viewed myself as a business. Even when I worked for corporate or different organizations, I still owned my talent, my worth, all of those were mine. So once I left corporate America, as did Linda, someone who I worked with on a volunteer basis contacted me and asked me to help them on a project and offered to compensate me for that. Being the businesswoman that I am, I launched my business with a client because someone wanted me to do some work for them. So that's how Titus Enterprises was launched. And we are celebrating 19 years this month.
Wow. So you seized an opportunity that was presented to you.
Yes, I did.
Now, Tyler Marcel experience. Now, I met you when you were the manager for Yolanda King. You were traveling. That was my best friend. You were traveling all over the world with her. And right before she passed in an untimely death, you were getting ready to launch Tyler Marcel makeup line then. So now it is the Tyler Marcel experience that's now just getting started. Tell us why you started.
I started like everyone else. I started off trying to find a job, have a job when I was in my 20s and 30s, and everybody kept firing me. So I said, well, no one will ever fire me again.
All right.
So,
say that again. Say that again.
No one will ever fire me again.
All right. All right.
So, and I started taking it personal, but I was good at what I was doing. So I knew it wasn't me. So, or I said it wasn't me.
That's good.
And so I started doing freelance. We used to call it freelance. And then freelance turned into being a LLC, into being a CEO of my own corporation.
All right, so you're sister CEOs, all of you. Okay, I'm going to ask you each to give us a 60-second pitch of what your business does, who you are, what you do. All right, Yolanda.
Hello, everyone. My name is Yolanda Caldwell, and I am the CEO of Titus Enterprises, which is a personal consulting firm dedicated to supporting organizations and individuals in the achievement of their goals by improving their processes and increasing their productivity. We are your partner in making your vision come reality.
Woo. And I can tell you, she's worked with me on 4 nonprofits, including this one, and she can deliver. A couple of retreats that we do each year, and all the things that go into the infrastructure, which we'll talk about later. Linda Pringle Evans, give us a 60-second pitch on, is it Kringle Business Consulting?
Yes. Pringle Business Consulting empowers female entrepreneurs and service-based professionals to discover and monetize the gems hidden within you. What makes you different, makes you one of a kind. We build personal brands to become unique, distinctive, and timeless, so you are no longer a well-kept secret. You become known as being relevant, relatable, and reputable, regardless of time and age. Are you ready to generate 6 figures, become timeless, and stand out with impeccable brand distinction? If you are, that's what we do.
Uh-oh,
All
that's
right.
3 thumbs and a circle. Okay, Miss Benita.
Oh, I had to follow that.
What does Tyler Marcel experience? What is it? What do you do?
The Tyler Marcel experience is where we empower women to not only look their best, but to feel their best as well. I truly believe that if you don't feel good on the inside, there's no way you're going to look good on the outside.
All right.
So, yes.
Okay, awesome. And charisma speakers, we help you with your preparation for powerful presentations. We deliver keynotes, consulting, corporate consulting for colleges, commencements, for corporations all over the world. We are your speakers bureau. We can do it virtually or in person because you need a speaker with charisma. Uh-oh.
All right.
Uh-oh. Hey. So why is it important for you to have a pitch? Yolanda.
You have to have a pitch because you need to know why you're here, what gift you're bringing to the table, and what gap you're filling for your client. Being able to communicate who you are and what you're bringing quickly builds confidence not only for yourself, but allows your potential clients to know that they can count on you to deliver.
Okay, now I want to just tell our audience, you'll also have a chance for some Q&A, some questions and answers. Get your question, and if you will just type it into the chat box, and it'll also be helpful for us to know where you're coming from. Like if you're from New York or North Carolina, just put, I'm Sherry from Nebraska, and we'd like to get to your questions towards the end of this broadcast. So please let us know, just type in the chat box. There's also, for some of you, a raise your hand feature, either one, but let us know who you are, and in a few minutes, we'll be coming to you as well. So that's your pitch. What are you positioned for, Linda? You know, I like alliteration. So it's your pitch. What are you positioned for? You said you're real, you're relevant, you're relatable. Tell us what you're positioning yourself for.
Positioning myself to be seen how I desire to be perceived by the world. I don't position myself and allow others to determine and define my brand. I decided how I chose to be perceived by others. And that is what a brand does. A brand, brands are made. So you position yourself how you desire to be perceived by others. That's why positioning is so important.
I love it. So it's your pitch, it's your positioning so that you can be perceived by others because of your brand. So Miss Benita, the word that's being used during COVID is pivot. That you got to make a turn. How did COVID make you pivot for Tyler Marcel experience?
Well, I had to pivot because I was working with women personally. My workshops were hands-on personal workshops. Then when COVID came about, I had to say, okay, pivot, what can you do? So now I am virtual. Teaching women how to apply the makeup themselves virtually and to coach virtually.
Okay, so you had to learn some technology as well. Some of us were on Zoom, but some are new to Zoom. So Yolanda, you're the tech person. That's who my go-to person for technology.
I need you.
So what can you not do without a business in COVID, during COVID and post-COVID? What can you not do without?
So what we're finding is you need technology in terms of the internet. You need internet access. You need a reliable device, a laptop or a tablet. And you also need to be a little courageous. In this moment where we're used to personal interactions, you have to talk to a computer where you're not getting that instant feedback necessarily when you're presenting. So you have to have courage. So the things that you need for technology, I'll repeat, you need the internet, you need your internet access, you need a reliable tool, computer or tablet, and you need to bring some courage to the table because you have to go through that fourth wall and connect with people through the internet.
Okay, another P then, presentation. So how does it differ online or in person? Now, Linda, you always look like you're a page out of a book, out of a magazine.
I know.
But whenever I see you in person or online, talk to us about presentation and why that's so important.
I hope everyone will receive this with love. Presentation is everything.
Mhm.
Perception, image. We only get one opportunity
Yes.
to position, go back to that word position, to position ourselves the way we want to be perceived. But presentation is about image, unfortunately. And we live in a society where image is everything today. And being online, you still have to maintain the image that you built offline. It has to carry over online as well, because a brand is consistency. You've got to be the same so that your audience will continuously be engaging with you so that you can grow your business online.
So the next word is pizzazz and popping. What makes you pop, Miss Tyler Marcel? What kind of makeup makes people pop? What should they be aware of?
Well, let's start with the pink hair. That makes me pop.
I would say because pink
You
hair
won't
makes you
forget
pop.
me. So color, eyes, putting, knowing how to apply colors. Women are afraid of color. They say, I don't like makeup. I found out that people do like makeup. They just don't know how to apply it. And they don't know what colors work best for them. So I say experiment with colors, pop those eyes. Right now we're wearing masks, so concentrate on your eyes. You can't wear lipstick with masks. So, and we're now virtual. So you need to look your best that you can on screen as well as in person. And so I think that's very important to know how to properly make yourself look your best.
That's great. And it's all right. I want to share to the audience. It's all right to ask for help in the areas that you need help with. Whether it's technology, whether it's getting a stylist to help you pick out the right clothes and the right colors for you and the right size for you. Like nobody's going to go in your jacket and say whether it's a 14 or a 16 or a 12. So you want to make sure the fit looks good, the colors pop, and that you feel good when you walk into the room. Some people put on these eyelashes and they really don't know how to do it. And so sometimes they're batting their eyes for the whole interview and you just want to snatch it off. So I'm just saying, we have a makeup inner beauty specialist with us. We have people who can help you with your personal presentation and technology. And we're going to give you their emails afterwards, and you can always contact us through the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. But it's all right to ask for help.
Yes.
Because none of us were born a leader. We had to grow into it. We had experiences. Some days were not great days, and we learned from those experiences. So I'm going to pose that question to each of you. And I want to remind you, you can put some questions in the chat room, and we're going to be coming to you because we have another a producer, Angela Sims, who's going to take your questions in a little while. So keep putting those questions in the chat room and we'll be coming back to you in a little while. So I'm going to ask you, what was the worst decision you ever made and what did you learn from it? Worst business decision and what did you learn from it? And are you afraid to fail? Because failure can be a way to success. So answer either part of that. Benita?
The worst decision I made was not knowing my own business, allowing someone else to tell me what Tyler Marcel was. And but it also turned out to be the best because now I know. So and no one can tell me my business. I know my business now.
So it goes back to Linda's statement in terms of you have to develop your own brand.
You have to develop your brand.
It's yours. It's yours.
It's yours. And it's okay to ask for help. You don't know everything and you won't know everything. And it's a constant growing experience. So don't be afraid to ask and don't be afraid to learn, but know your business. You must know your business.
That's awesome. Yolanda, what's the worst decision or what place do you feel that you failed, but it helped you in terms of where you are now?
I think when I moved my business out of my house, and I actually rented commercial space, the worst decision was not knowing when it was time to scale down again. Business had grown, business was great, but as we all know that there are ups and downs in business. And when there was a downturn in the industry, I did not make the decision because I didn't have the key measurements in place to say, okay, your overhead has reached this point, you need to scale back. So that was the worst decision that I made, is that not having the right measurements in place to know when it was time to scale back. what I learned from that is I put in some key measurements, some KPIs, key performance indicators, to help me know when to grow or when to make shifts.
Awesome. Linda, Yolanda mentioned having a home business. Is it okay to have a home business?
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's perfectly all right to have a home business. You can do the same thing out of your home as you can from a commercial place. But having a home business, it does require discipline.
Yes.
That is the problem, that especially we as women.
Exactly.
I can speak from my own experiences.
Because there's another P, pajamas. You can't work in your pajamas and do this.
Get dressed.
And honestly, you can't, because, Ambassador, it impacts your mindset. When you're working from home, you're constantly having to tell yourself to stay focused, stay disciplined. You look at what you are supposed to accomplish that day within your business, and put parameters around you. You know, let your family know these are the hours that I'm working, and please do not disturb me. So
and let others know, including my team. They know Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. You can get inspired at 3 in the morning on a Sunday and write me an email, but I'm not going to open it until Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Absolutely.
You're very good at that.
People appreciate your boundaries.
Absolutely.
Including all my team. Okay, yes, continue, Linda. Yes.
It's very important for us as women. I will say women because I'm a woman, to set those boundaries. But yes, we can run a multi-enterprise from our homes.
Yes, you can.
Just think about Madam C.J. Walker when she first began. Where was she making her products and getting her products out into the marketplace? From her home.
Yeah,
exactly.
She was very disciplined.
Exactly.
It does.
Yes.
Discipline is very, very, and the other is this.
Yes.
Even though you're working from home, don't isolate yourselves. You know, make sure you have a team. Yes. Make sure you have business advisors that you are in touch with on a weekly basis to help you to maintain and be able to be sustainable in business, as well as how do you leverage and pivot, the word we used a moment ago, how do you pivot in uncertain times? This is an uncertain time for us, but we've experienced uncertain times before, and we're going to experience them again. So having the right team around you, having mentors is also important. Even though you're working from home, you still need everything you would have if you were outside of your home and you had an office away from your home.
Yeah, I want you mention the team piece, because so many times we may start alone, but you can't do this thing alone.
You cannot.
That's the joy of having a chamber. We're building this together. I want you to understand the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. It was birthed in February. It was birthed as a vision. But Linda and I were talking a year ago. Yolanda and I were talking 2 years ago. Benita and I were talking about 3 years ago, because it was a seed. And what it had to do to germinate was that it had to grow. But you can't just water it by yourself. You have to have a team that surrounds you, a board, an advisory board, and members. And that's why we need you. We want you to come and bring your talent. You'll receive, but it's a network, which means you give, we give, and we all grow together. Right. I want to make multi-millionairesses. I want you to be clear. This is creating wealth, not only closing the wealth gap, but creating wealth and generational wealth, so that your daughters and sons and their daughters and sons don't have to start all over again. We are bad mama jammers. We can do this thing. So I'm inviting you to join the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. We're going to put the link in the chat box, but you can also go to globalblackwomencc.org and you'll be part of history. You're a founding member of the first Chamber of Commerce ever that focuses solely on Black women-owned businesses. I just want you to hear that. So you'll be part of history as well. So let's talk about this. You have your team, you can work at home. So don't be ashamed if you have just a little dining room or a little part of your patio. Make it yours. Make it your brand and make it your area, and make sure others don't intrude on it during your working hours.
Especially in this season that we're in, this pandemic season, everyone is working from home, the majority.
Very much so. And the
yes.
thing in terms of presentation is no one knows what you have on underneath you, but you have to look good from the camera up. You
Don't
know,
stand up.
from the camera up, you have to look good. Nobody knows that I have my bathing suit on under. I didn't mean to say that, but nobody knows I got my bathing suit on, and I'm going to go swimming. But that's okay. So let's talk about life balance and self-care. I love to swim, so wherever I live, I'm near water, or I can get to a pool within 2 or 3 blocks. What do you do for fun,
Oh,
Benita?
you have to have fun. I was a workaholic. I worked all the time. I'm an ex-workaholic now. And if you don't play, you will pay for it later. I had a stroke. I had back surgery. I had a lot of obstacles I had to overcome only because I didn't know when to stop or how to stop. And I was letting those people voices in my head to tell me how I should be, ought to be. And I was trying to always prove to everyone that I was better than what they were saying I was. I had to learn that for myself. So now I play. After I work every day, I walk outside. I get some fresh air. If I can't walk, I'll sit or whatever, but I have to stop. You can't work I work 12 hours a day. You have to stop. You have to put boundaries and put a limit to your work ethics.
And thank you for sharing that you had a stroke and you had it as a young woman. And I know some of the pain that you were going through. And so on the other side of your pain, you show God your respect for your body by taking some time down, having what we call downtime. I really appreciate, I've seen your growth and I really see that. What do you do for fun, Yolanda? And we're coming to questions right after this question, because I see there are 11 questions in our chat box. Yolanda, what do you do for fun? And you know I'm looking at you.
Okay, so we're going to be honest because everybody is at a different journey. I do not have balance, and I will admit that. I am I am a workaholic. I work all the time. And I find joy in it. I am in a place in my life where the projects that I choose to work on are projects that bring me joy and bring me energy. Working on this project was immensely fulfilling, to be a part of something that is going to make the lives of women across this world change. So I do admit I have some work to do, but I have great mentors, Ambassador, who when I don't know when to shut things down, she helps me by shutting things down, by telling me when I need to stop. So for anyone who's watching, if you're not there yet, partner with people who love you, who will speak life to you when you can't make some certain decisions for yourself. So I am very fortunate to have people in my life who I listen to when they tell me to stop. But I will be very honest with you, I don't have an off switch.
And so sometimes I won't turn on her on switch because I know she would say yes if I asked her. And so there's purposely, because we care about each other, we have to be sisters as we're growing our businesses. There are certain things I won't even ask her to do because I won't put any more weight on her. She just lost her father, and our condolences to your family. But you know, you need to have grieving time, and I purposely wouldn't let anyone send her emails, nor would I, because that's your dad. And you need to have time to grieve. So if you don't have, like as she said, if you don't have that switch where you can turn on and off, then surround yourself with people who care about you, not just your business, because you're a human being, you're a sister, sister CEO, and we care about you. Linda, what do you do to have fun?
I think it's because I'm a more seasoned woman in life, and my fun is my family. My children, my grandchildren. I make sure that on a weekly basis that I spend time with them. I pour into them, and we have the best time. They are my besties, and everything that I do, I'm doing at this stage in my life is for them and for others. It's not about me. God has blessed me to live a very rich, full life. So now I'm at this place where it's time for me to give back. And everything I've learned about success I want to pour it into other women because we can do it together. Together.
I heard that from a founding board member of the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. And I'm glad you mentioned the word seasons. And I want to just say Quinn Conyers was supposed to be on with us, but we have different seasons represented. Quinn is a millennial. I mean, she's a young mommy. Sometimes we have to mute her on our board meetings because she's got two little ones climbing in the back. I was a mother. I am a mother, and I had children who were small in that age. And so now that we're working at home, you'll even hear when you call corporations, they'll say, you may hear children in the background.
That's right.
So, you know, you have to kind of go with it. So Quinn is our millennial, and we are all at different stages and ages. But when we come together, we bring our net worth.
Yes.
And we're valuable. So I want to say thank you for joining us today. I'm going to introduce our producer who's behind the scenes, but I'm going to invite Angela Sims. She is the co-founder and CEO of League of Girlfriends. And I'm going to ask you today to just greet us. And if you will give us two of the questions that are in the chat, please.
I certainly will. And thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here with you, incredible women today. So one of the questions we got was from Verkia, who's actually in Harlem, New York. Verkia said, how do you manage, same subject you were just talking about, Ambassador, how do you actually manage parenting a small child while working from home?
Okay, great. Well, I don't know who's the closest to Yolanda, and I are probably the closest to having had small children. Mine are big old grown guys, but they still come home. So, and they eat a lot. I'll share my story, and it's really why Charisma Speakers was birthed. And Angela, your mic is a little scratchy as well, but I'll just share with you, Charisma Speakers was birthed. I became a keynoter because most don't know, I was a pastor for 3 decades. I started very young, 23 years old. So I had 3 decades before most people were starting their ministries. I was wrapping mine up. And then I was called to work in the Obama administration, which was such a joy and an honor. But when I was starting in ministry, I was popular. I was making the front pages of all the local papers. And the colleagues, all my colleagues were male. Most of my colleagues were male, and they were doing revivals all over the globe. And they would go away from home for 3 and 4 and 5 nights and do a revival, but they had a wife at home. I determined I didn't want a nanny to raise my children. So I made a decision. I had to make smart choices. I couldn't go to California, preach 3 nights. That takes a day to fly, preach 3 nights, a day to fly back home, and then you're exhausted and you don't want to see anybody. So I became a keynote speaker. And the way that I managed it, I wanted to take my children to school every day. So I started speaking on the East Coast, and I could do an Atlanta luncheon, a luncheon in Atlanta, be 30 minutes. I'll get my paycheck, which was as much as 3 nights revival, come back home, pick my kids up from school, and we go home together. They would not even know that I had been out of town. So it didn't disrupt our family life. It made them whole. So they had time for mommy as mommy. And I was able to do my business. So I made a decision. So Charisma Speakers was birthed because it was a smart choice for me to be a keynoter. So I went from not just being a preacher, I can do the sacred, but I learned how to do the secular. And I know I can smoke in either one, the pulpit or at the luncheon. You invite me because you need a speaker with charisma. Yolanda, how did you get children with the
Rakia, what I did, I understood at some point in my life, I did understand balance, and I allowed my family to be my priority and my business was secondary. So I would only take projects that fit the schedule for my life at that moment when I had small children. And as my children grew up, I brought them into the business. So I had them coming into the office and doing office work. So they learned some basic skills so that they would be prepared for whatever their next step was going to be in their lives. But I took it in stages. I did not allow, as my other panelists talked about, I didn't allow anyone else to tell me what my business had to look like. I knew what I wanted to make in terms of, finances on a regular basis. And I tried to find projects that fit that. So as you're thinking about it, still allow your child to enjoy time with you. Let them sit next to you while you're working, because they will pick up what you're putting down, that concept of working and balance. Be a role model to them, engage them as much as you can. And there were some late nights after they went to bed, but you find that balance. But embrace the moment, embrace it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, make your family a priority if you can. Being both a pastor and a keynote speaker, my schedule was totally flexible, which meant not only did I have office hours that were flexible, but I could go to the baseball games and the basketball games.
Mhm.
So I would be the mommy in the stands cheering, and my sons would be like, "You're cheering so loud," and the other boys would say, "Can you cheer for us? Because our moms can't come."
Yeah.
So, so you had the fulfillment on both sides. The business was booming, but my family was also being fulfilled. And I want to make sure that you say, prioritize. Linda, you were going to say really quickly about raising children?
Yes, what I was going to say, it really depends upon the age of the child as
Yes.
well, because if they are small toddlers, it's going to be different. You just can't bring them in and help, and they become part of your work, your little work team. So what I would suggest is, if depending upon the age of the child, if it's a toddler, look at possibly getting a sitter, someone you can rely upon. And that sitter can also come into your home and watch your children for X amount of hours per day that you need, so that you can still fulfill what you need to do in your business. And at the same time, your child or children, they're still there with you, but you have someone who is helping to nurture them while you are doing your business. So
that's a good point. That's a great
Yeah.
point. Let me just give you a legal point also, because you never know when you're going to work for government. Like, I was invited to the White House, and they check also on your health. So if you're going to hire someone, whether they come in your home or you hire them outside of your home, make sure you know the legal implications and the tax implications for your particular region and district. So I don't know if you remember, because I worked for President Clinton, and right before I went there was a woman who was going to be appointed a judge,
Yes.
nominated as a judge, and she couldn't do it because they found she had not paid her nanny for months and months legally.
Wow.
She played them off the books. So just also check the things, but definitely having help, the help you need is immeasurable. We're going to take another question. I know we could all answer all of these, but I'm going to come to different ones for different answers. Yes, and Angela.
Okay, so we have Sharita Itzity, and she's actually from Atlanta, Georgia. Her question is, why a global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce? She noted that there are Chamber of Commerces in every city for every, but why global and why now?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that, but I'm going to ask Linda, our first founding board member, to answer that, and then I'll come back.
Why global? Because we want to be united, Black women all over the globe, to come together. One of the things that we have discovered, in order for us to succeed at the level that we are capable of, we can't do it alone. By becoming global, now we have an opportunity where we not only have the national platform, but by being global, you have an opportunity to expand your businesses internationally. And it's much easier when you have formed those relationships within the Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. Now is the time for Black women globally to unite. And let me just say this, because I'm a part of Empowering a Billion Women. There are women across the waters that are wanting us to help them, and they want to help us. So this is why the Global Black Women's Chamber is global instead of just US. I hope that answered your question.
Oh yeah, and so I'm a member of like 2 or 3 chambers. There's the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, there's the U.S. Women's Chamber of Commerce, there's the U.S. Black Chamber, but none of them focused solely on Black women-owned businesses. And several times, whether we're on webinars or we're at the table, and I'm at the table, very few times are Black women-owned businesses mentioned. It's kind of like this whole conglomerate, Black businesses, minority businesses. No, we're specific about Black women-owned businesses. Wouldn't it be wonderful to do trade with a woman in Liberia or Ghana or South Africa who's also waiting to do business with you? Wherever there are Black women all over the world, in the Black diaspora, certainly, but there are Black women in Japan and in China. When I was U.S. Ambassador for International Religious Freedom, I had 199 countries in my portfolio in the Obama administration. I would go to Black countries in Africa, and they were inviting the Chinese to come and teach them things because they couldn't find Black women to do some of the businesses. They needed roads, they needed electricity, they needed construction. And so they went to other countries because they didn't know where to find us. Well, we are here now. They can find us. We are global. We've got a website. It's kicking, it's popping, and they can find us. So that's why now, and with the way of the world, with the two pandemics, with COVID, and now with racism being exposed, everyone wants Black women to help have businesses that they can help and partner with. So it's the right time. We talked about seasons. It's the right time. It's the right women. It's the right place. And it's the now moment for Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce. So come on in. We need you. Next question, Angela. Is there one more?
Okay, there is one more. If you could give advice for someone building a nonprofit, what would that advice be?
Okay, I'm going to let Miss Vanita answer that because you just finished building yours, right?
Yes, it's not nonprofit, but I rebuilt it. I started mine maybe 20 years ago, and I just rebuilt my business. I would say you must always, I would say the first 5 steps. Let me just give you 5 quick steps. The first step is, of course, is to pray, to make sure that you write that vision down and get the vision. You write the vision down, and then you start searching for the entity. What type of entity do you want to be? If it's nonprofit, what is your name going to be? Get that name locked down. And then once you get the name locked down, then you go for your social media names, like your Facebook. And I'm saying social media like I know.
Like
your Facebook, your email, get all those addresses together. And that's how you get started. But and put that budget. You have to know how much, what you want to do, and how much it's going to cost you. And don't be afraid of the figures. Don't be afraid
I would also throw what Linda said in terms of establishing your brand. And I would add one other step. You want to also Google. Now you have Google. We used to have encyclopedias. I'm a boomer.
Yes.
But you Google
Dictionaries.
What's your competition? You know, how many other businesses like yours? And then what makes you unique? So, you know, if you bake cakes and someone right beside you bakes cakes, well, what makes your cakes unique and what makes you marketable and makes you profitable? So, Linda, because nonprofits can make profit. Let me just share that.
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
I was going to also suggest, make sure you get a good board. You need for your nonprofit, you will definitely need a good board. And I would suggest a working board to help you. And as Ambassador Sujay just mentioned, know who is doing what you're doing, because you need to find out what is missing, what they are missing, whereas you can fill that gap. You don't want to do exactly what somebody else is already doing. You want to be able to bring something more unique so that you can attract donors for your nonprofit, sponsors for your nonprofit, opportunities for grants. So I would definitely suggest getting your board up front who can believe in your vision and help you bring it to fruition.
If I could add.
Yes, Yolanda.
If I could just add, building on what Linda said, understanding funding sources, understanding what organizations in terms of corporations, foundations, understanding how to fund your nonprofit. That's very important. And also make sure you have great record keeping. So a great assistant to support you in your record keeping. Those are some of the things that I would suggest.
Awesome. Again, you're watching YouTube Live with Sujay. If you're watching, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, share it. And you can see this again and again. Even if you miss it today, we are recording it and we want to make sure that you get this in. But I would also add 2 things. A pro bono lawyer, because there are some legalities for a nonprofit, someone that will give you some free advice who knows nonprofits, and then know what you can and cannot do. Most nonprofits are 501c3, which means like you can't get involved in political activity. You want to make sure you don't do things that are going to shut you down before you even get on your feet. So know what you can and cannot do, which is why it's important to really study the law. Look, and you can go online. What is a nonprofit? What is the
Know your
designation for the
business.
kind of business that I'm going to do? And then you must make sure you get your IRS designation. You get what's called an EIN number or an ID from the federal government, which tells you you can operate federally. And then if you're tax exempt, there's another form for your statewide tax exemption and also federal tax exemption so that donors can get tax benefits for donating. But know inside out before you open your doors. Like this is our pre-launch season. So we're doing whatever we need to do as a pre-launch. We will have an official launch in September. So if you come in now, you get discount rates, but you also come in as a founding member. But there are things that you have to know. A Chamber of Commerce has to do things differently than my church had to do it. And they both are nonprofits, but you got to know the laws. What are the legalities of what you can do? We have time for one more question, Miss Angela.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear that because we've got Tammy Hines, who is actually watching us on YouTube. Thank you, Tammy. She says, Ms. V, you look fabulous, but she has a great question. How, as global Black women, do we afford falling into the system that has placed limitations on us as Black women? What is your trajectory to bring something new?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked me that. First of all, I'm brand new. And I think, we're coming, some of us who are founders are coming, as Linda said, at the end of lots of life experiences, a pastor, a US ambassador, a diplomat, a third generation business owner. So first of all, we bring life experiences to the table. The other thing is we have the acronym RON, R-O-N. We're helping make resources available to you. We're not trying to keep them all to ourselves. We are thriving. We are wonderful, but we can thrive more together. Opportunities, letting you know where there are opportunities. One of our board members, our advisory board members, knows how to get those big giga government grants. She says where the real money is. So we bring resources and opportunities. And then there's a network. One of the women who was joining, who's about to join, said, I'm so glad I can have like a mindset change, sit with people who think like I do, who think big like I do, who I can throw ideas on and off from. So you get the resources, the opportunity, the network that you wouldn't get elsewhere. So we're ready to give. Most of us are at the giving season of our lives so that we can share with you, but we can always grow. There are things that I learned about doing big government contracts from our new advisory board member that I didn't know about how to get NAS codes, how to register with SAM.gov, how to get certified if you want to get certain contracts, and to go into areas that Black women traditionally haven't gone into, like NASA and aerospace and defense contracts. So what we will do is expose you to what's out there, share it with you, and you then you bite off what you think you can chew, and then you have the assistance and the network of those of us to grow together and help you get to your next point. So if you do the same things you've always done, you'll get the same results. We want you to do things you've never done and expand on that and go places. Dr. Seuss, who was a great prophet, he said, oh, the places you will go. Well, we want you to go places, and we're going places. So that's why now. Linda, one last thought?
One last thought is this. Who can better help you than us? Yeah. We know the pain. We know because we've been there ourselves.
Yes.
So who better to help you to get to where you want to be in your business to succeed? And we are about you succeeding and thriving. We want to see more Black women, as Ambassador Sujay said. We want more Black women to have intergenerational wealth. So we're bringing to you not just our knowledge, but the resources, the connections that we have, and we have them. We have individuals who don't look like us, but they are willing and able to come and help us. So we are partnering with others so that we can truly give you exactly what you need to succeed. Exactly. We're going to give you what you need, but you'll have to do the work.
That's right. That's right. You'll have to do the work. And why don't we want you to fall into traps? Because we've been trapped before, and we know what it's like when you fall. And we don't want you to have to go through the same traps that we went to. We're not playing games. I'm too old. I'm a boomer. And this is my legacy building time. So we're not playing games. We're serious about this. This is the work that I want to do at this season of my life. After I've been a pastor for 3 decades, inner city, New York City. I've heard every story imaginable in life. I've been through it all, worked for 2 United States presidents. This is about my giving back to my sisters and sharing with our sisters. So we're not playing, we're not setting traps. We're trying to go places and help you to go places. Multi-millionairesses, and what's wrong with being a multi-billionaires? Hello, somebody.
Hello.
I'm not mad at you, but I'm also glad that Linda talked about partnerships, because in some of these webinars, we're going to introduce you to some of our partners. A partner doesn't have to always look like you, sound like you, walk like you. We've got 2 men on our board, our founding board. One's white, one's Black. That they're people who believe in helping support and build Black women-owned businesses. We have a launch project going on right now, training 25 Black women, partnering with a white woman, Empowering a Billion Women, Ingrid Vanderveld, who's going to be on in a couple of weeks. But we're partnering together so that we can create some businesses. It's not about creating jobs. When you create a job, you're just sending somebody to work for somebody else. We're creating businesses, distributorships of PPE equipment. Don't you think it's timely for PPE equipment in the midst of COVID? And after COVID, people are going to still need masks. They're going to need the equipment. Doctors need it. So we're trying to be timely. We're trying to read the times and see what it is that's the missing link. Linda talked about it, and business is about what's missing. Right. That we can fill that void. That's our niche. What's missing? And we hope to be that chamber that helps fill what's missing. So come on, bring your whole tribe and join this tribe. Is it time for one more question, Angela, or this is it? Yeah. This is it. Well, you have been listening to Live with Sujay, and we invite you for the next 6 weeks now to join us at noon on Wednesday. You have met some of our founding board and affiliates. I'm going to ask you to raise your hand one more time. You have met Linda Pringle Evans of Pringle Business Consulting. You have met Yolanda Caldwell of Titus Events LLC and podcast The Heightening, and you have met Miss Vanita of the Tyler Marcel Experience, and now you have met our producer Angela Sims, CEO and founder of Girlfriends, League of Girlfriends, and we want all of y'all to come. Come on in. The link is in the chat box, but if you can't find it there, go to globalblackwomencc.org. I'm Ambassador Susan Johnson Cook, CEO of Charisma Speakers, because you need a speaker with charisma. But more than that, I am proud to be the founder, CEO, and chair of the first Global Black Women's Chamber of Commerce for women. We thank you for joining us. Stay tuned, like us, subscribe us, share us, but don't miss us. Come back next week and you'll be blessed. Thank you.
Thank you.